I mean, who doesn't want that for $2,000? That's a good car. A little bit of bad paint, but it's a $2,000 car. It runs. So I'll just walk you through some of our prices and show you that, I mean, it's just crazy to think in the car market right now that these $3,000 cars, these $2,500 cars, these $3,500 cars are still just sitting here and people aren't just rushing to buy them. Now, we sold a lot of cars, as you can see in the last couple of weeks since we have dropped our prices. But all right, so my name's Brandon. I'm a used car dealer. This is my car lot. These are all my cars. We've sold a couple. So what you've seen in the past is me walking in front of a lot of my used cars on my car lot, and we've been full. And over the last few months, that has been the case. But we've sold a few, and the reason that we've sold them is because we've done price cuts. And what you're going to start seeing across the board in the used car market, in the used car industry, is you're going to start to see price cuts. We're already seeing some of these manufacturers do that. We're seeing a lot of incentives come across through Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and they have to do it because their sales have been poopy. So if they're not selling cars at the price point that they're putting them out right now, guess what? They've got to drop the price if they want to sell them. You just saw Tesla come out with a bunch of price drops. And I know that Tesla has been doing record number of deliveries, but if they're moving and they know that they can move every single car that they're putting out, there's no reason for them to do a price cut. So Tesla knows something. They see something in the market that tells them, you know what, if we continue to price our cars the way we're pricing them right now, then we're not going to sell as many. So I know that they're selling a lot of cars, but they're seeing it in their numbers that they know that they have to do some price cuts if they want to continue to push out these vehicles. Because I can promise you, a company like Tesla, if they know that they're going to be able to sell every vehicle that they produce at the current prices that they have, they're not making any price cuts. So they're seeing something, and pretty soon I think you're going to see it across all of these car manufacturers, is that as the demand continues to go down, as interest rates stay where they are, they're going to have to start making price cuts, or they're not going to sell any vehicles. We're already seeing a lot of these market adjustments that dealers have been charging. They're starting to come off. The example of Jeep, Dodge, Ram, I've been to a Jeep dealer last week, talked to one of their sales reps, and he said that they actually had to sell some vehicles under invoice so they could keep their allocations, because they weren't selling any vehicles, so they had to move some cars out. And the way that they did that is they cut their prices. They cut them down to under invoice so they could actually move through some inventory, because their GM was scared to death that they were going to actually lose some of their allocations, some ability to be able to get new cars in. And that's a factor that I think is really going to start pinching a lot of these franchise dealers, is they're going to start getting scared of losing some of their allocations because they're not moving through these cars in a timely manner. A lot of these Jeep dealers, a lot of these Ford dealers, what we're seeing is they're getting stacked up on vehicles. Over the last year and a half, they haven't really had inventory, and now they are loaded to the brim. The Ford dealers that I've been to, the Jeep dealers that I've been to, all these Ram trucks that we're seeing on these dealership lots, they're completely full now. So there's no argument for them to be able to charge these dealer adjustments, because the reason that they were charging them to begin with was because these vehicles were scarce. So when a customer walks up on their lot now, and if they do see a dealer adjustment on a lot like one of these, and they say just because the market's crazy and we can't get vehicles, and they turn around and look and see, well, you've got this $5,000 upcharge, this dealer adjustment on this Wrangler, and you say because you can't get them, but you've got 15 of them right here, it really just doesn't hold any water. So these dealer adjustments have to come off, and next these dealers are going to have to sell for under MSRP if they want to start moving these vehicles. All right, so now what's happening in the used car market? Well, you can see it right here. I'll show you. Look, all these cars are gone. And the reason why they're gone is because we marked our cars down $500,000, $1,000 in some cases. And it's not that we were overcharging customers $500,000. We're marking a lot of these cars down to where now we're only making 500 bucks. Some of these cars we're going to break even on. And the reason that I'm doing that right now, I'm making these actions to get out of these cars right now, is because I can see it on the wholesale level already going to these auctions. Prices are starting to come down. And as prices come down on the wholesale side, retail will soon to follow. And if that's the case and the wholesale values drop, then the cars that I'm going to be buying in the next few weeks, I'm going to be able to price this Camry that I might have paid 2,500 bucks for, and we're trying to sell it for 3,000, make a little bit of money on. But that same Camry next week at the auction, I might be able to pay $1,500 for it, meaning I can bring it to my lot and sell it for 2,500 bucks and still make $1,000. But at that case, if I still have this Camry sitting right here, that's very similar to a Camry that I paid a little bit less for, it can sell for 2,500 bucks. If a customer comes up on this lot, that car is going to be competing with this Camry right here. So why would a customer buy pretty much the same car for $3,000 when they can see the one that's right next to it for 2,500 bucks? So we've got to get rid of this inventory if prices are coming down on the wholesale level, and I can buy cars cheaper, meaning I can sell them cheaper. Because I really don't want to bring in that Camry that I can pay $1,500 for and mark it up to $3,000, because I literally have $3,000 Camry sitting right here and we're still having a hard time selling them. I know, like, some of the stuff, they got bad paint or whatever. That has not ever affected really us being able to sell cars, because we sell cheaper stuff. There's going to be some cosmetic stuff wrong with it. They're going to be mechanically sound, but people buy cars from us that don't want to be in debt. They don't want to have car payments, and they want nice A to B cars, and they really don't care about what the paint looks like. So that's never been an issue for us. So that's not the case why those cars aren't selling. It's because people don't have any money right now, and it's very tough for them to be able to come and even drop $2,500, $3,000 on a car. We've never had this issue, especially this time of year, being able to sell this kind of stuff. But now we're having an issue because people just don't have the money to spend on these vehicles. So I'll just walk you through some of our prices and show you that, I mean, it's just crazy to think in the car market right now that these $3,000 cars, these $2,500 cars, these $3,500 cars are still just sitting here, and people aren't just rushing to buy them. Now, we sold a lot of cars, as you can see in the last couple of weeks since we have dropped our prices, but this is just to show you my alarm level going up as far as how much that we've dropped our prices on our vehicles, because we are trying to get rid of them. And like I told you earlier, like, some of these cars we're going to break even on, and I am okay. I'm actually happy with that, because I know that a week or 2 weeks from now we're going to go to the auction and we're going to start cleaning up again. In the last couple weeks, we actually haven't been able to buy anything because prices were still elevated. And now, last week, we started seeing prices come down a little bit. And this past week, we bought 8. Now, usually we'll buy 15 to 25 cars in a given week. But from going from no cars over the last few weeks to being able to buy 7, 8 cars in a week, that's a big turn. And these prices that we're paying, they're not good. They're not cheap by any means, but they're reasonable now, and they have not been reasonable for months. So now, while the turn, and yes, I'm going to walk past the same 4 or 5 cars this whole video, because yeah, you know what, we don't have a lot of cars, so I can go sit in front of a desk, or I can walk and have you a little something behind me. You tell me what you would rather have. But anyway, so what I think is happening and why the prices are starting to turn a little bit is because we're past tax time and dealers are just overexposed, and they're in the same boat that I am with more expensive cars, and they're finding out that they can't sell them. So what are they doing? They're not really lowering their prices. A lot of cases is because they can't, because they're on floor plans. They have credit associated with their cars, and they have to make a certain amount, or they end up actually losing money, because the more time that they keep their cars on their lot, the more money they actually have in them. So their costs go up, and if prices go down, at some point, what they have in the car versus what they got to get out of the car, or what they're trying to sell the car, flips. And they didn't have the money to begin with, so they got to come up with the difference. And if the cars sit, ultimately they have to go dump them at auction, where they'll lose their butts on them. And in a lot of cases, they're going to end up losing a ton of money because they're going to have losses on the cars. Plus, they're going to have interest payments that they have to pay on these cars that they're losing their money on or losing their butts on already. So I want to do this video mostly just to give you guys an update of what's going on in my car lot and what I am doing because of what I think is going to happen to the used car industry. And just the advice that I would give to you, if you don't need to buy a car right this minute, don't wait. Prices are going to come down on the used car side, and now since we're seeing these problems that the manufacturers are having, since we're seeing these problems that the franchise dealers are having, new car prices are going to come down too. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. There's not going to be any crash. We don't have enough inventory for that, but used car prices, new car prices are going to come down. These franchise dealers are already starting to give incentives out, and they're trying to move their cars. They have to keep their allocations if they want new cars. That means they have to sell. It's hard to sell a car right now. It's hard to get people approved for credit right now, and they have to do everything they can do to be able to move a lot of these cars. Now, your models that are more desirable, your Toyotas, a lot of cases Lexus, your Hondas, it's going to be even a lot longer to see prices drop on those because they're going to command higher money. They're going to command a type of customer that they just want to buy a Honda, they just want to buy a Toyota, and even though it costs more, they'll still buy it. But you'll see your domestic brands like Ford, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, these car companies that are getting overwhelmed with inventory. We're already seeing F-150s stack up everywhere. They had, the last numbers that I saw come out from Cox said that they had like over 100 days supply of F-150s. That is crazy. The sweet spot that they like to have is 50 to 60 days. So F-150s, I'm looking closely with those. I think those are going to be the next big models to actually drop in price. They're going to, these dealerships, they have to move these F-150s. There are too many of them just sitting out there. Jeep, we're already seeing it. They're overloaded. Ram, we're already seeing it. I've heard a lot of you in the comments talking about going to these Jeep, Dodge, Ram dealerships, and they're already just doing blowout prices on a lot of these Ram trucks just to get them moved. So prices are going to come down. Be patient, they will come down. And as always, if you are going to buy a car, before you buy it, make sure you get it checked out by your mechanic. I don't want you to buy a turd. I want you to know what you're buying before you make the purchase. So find you a good mechanic before you buy a car. Take your car to your mechanic and have them look at your vehicle that you want to purchase as if they were going to buy it for themselves, as if they were going to buy it for their mama. Just know what you're going to get into before you buy it. Be safe. All right, so I try to give you guys as much behind the scenes action as I can. So this is our warboard. I've shown it a few times before in videos that we have. See, all of these cars, I mean, all of these little tabs right here, these are cars that we would typically have in basically our I don't even know what you say. These are cars that we're reconning right now. We're getting ready to be sold. And if you've seen this board before in earlier videos, you know that it's been full of these little tabs. We haven't bought very many cars. So Alex, my mechanic, and the guys that work with him have done a great job actually getting our cars and moving them all out of this board. So all the cars that you just saw out there, I'll walk past, those are basically everything that we have left. So in the next few weeks, we've got to buy some more cars. We're going to buy some more cars, but just wanted to show that I haven't been buying anything. We have nothing that's coming out on the market. We're trying to be as lean as possible right now because I think that I know that prices are coming down.